Or otherwise, I can read it. If you want, I have it in large. Oh, I'm going to read it. Why have nations gathered? And why do kingdoms think vain things? Kings of a land stand up, and nobles take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed. Let us break their bands and cast off their cords from us. He who dwells in heaven laughs. The Lord mocks them. Then he speaks to them in his wrath, and he frightens them with his sore displeasure. But I have enthroned my king on Zion, my holy mount. I will tell of the decree. The Lord said to me, you are my son. This day have I begotten you. Request of me, and I will make nations your inheritance, and the ends of the earth your possession. You shall break them with an iron rod, and not iron dome, where we protect ourselves. Like a potter's vessel, you shall shatter them. And now, you king, be wise, be admonished, you judges of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear and rejoice with quaking. Arm yourselves with purity, lest he become angry and you perish in the way. For in a moment, his wrath will be kindled. The praises of all who take refuge in him. Okay, so it's a very powerful second perek, second chapter. I just want to go back to the first chapter just a little bit. Remember, because it was 2 weeks ago. The first chapter we said is a lesson for individuals. Be careful of who you surround yourself with. Remember, it was about the influence. And we were saying it's so important to surround yourself with the right people because we get the energy of the people we're surrounding with because we work so hard on being such a good person that we don't want like the others to really like mess up with our work and our personal work on ourselves. Now it's very interesting. This is the second chapter. We're not going to learn each and every chapter, but I wanted to learn this one because if the first chapter that David HaMelech chose to put, and we remember it was not written in this order. It was compiled afterwards. Remember, so he picked up the few chapters that he wanted to start with. First, he started with an individual. He said, you need to know where you stand. You need to know with who you get surrounded. And now he's going to speak to us as a nation, right? Mm-hmm. Because Am Israel, we are one, but we're going to see that we are made of individuals. So speak to us first as an individual. So we take it as an individual, but then don't forget, I'm going to ask you if you don't mind to turn off your microphones. But then remember that you are part of Am Israel. And now we're going to speak about what is Am Israel's mission. What is David HaMelech's lesson to Am Israel in this second chapter? And I think like it's very interesting to see that when we look at the 5 books of the Torah, we see that there is a progression in the development of the Jewish people, right? In Bereshit, and we saw that together in the past when we were studying the Parashot in the past years together. In Bereshit, we speak about individuals. We have Adam Arishon, Chava, we have Noach, we have Avraham Avinu, right? And with Avraham Avinu starts the history of the Ivrim. But the Ivrim is not a nation. The Ivrim is just a family, right? Avraham Avinu, Sarah Imenu, and their descendants at first, right? Then we go all the way to the end of Bereshit, and what do we have? We have a descendant of Avraham Avinu called Yaakov. Yaakov has 12 sons who will become the 12 tribes of Israel, because who is Israel? Yaakov. Yaakov's second name, so a given name that he won through a battle with the angel of Esav is Israel. So this, first of all, this name Israel is so powerful. This is the name we really fought for. We fought against the angel of Esav, okay? And we got that name Israel. And Israel means Yaakov. Yaakov has 12 sons. Those 12 sons, one of them, Yosef, has a very special and unique destiny. And he's sold. Remember, he arrives in Mitzrayim, which is Egypt today, right? And in Mitzrayim, he becomes the vice king of Egypt. He saves the life of all this region, and he brings at the end of Bereshit, he brings along all his family, who are the Bnei Israel, but are not called like that yet. For the moment, they are just the Ivrim. And he brings them along with him to Mitzrayim, where they are going to be able to live in prosperity for some time. But we know the rest of the story, right? We know Sefer Shemot, what happened in Sefer Shemot, we see that those Ivrim who were here to live in prosperity have actually been enslaved, like the promise HaKadosh Baruch Hu had made to Avraham Avinu to enslave his descendants in Mitzrayim. Normally it was for 400 years. Baruch Hashem, we were saved before that, right? But we're still with Ivrim. Why? Because we're still with individuals. Why? Because slaves, we say that many times, they are in a survival mode, right? They just need to stay alive. Staying alive. Hi, Morgan. Comment ça va?
T'arrives en français.
Ouais, t'arrives en français. But you have to move the way. Okay, so we know that they need to stay alive. Someone who needs to remain alive for 210 years through, let's say, 10 generations. How can they become a nation? They cannot become a nation. They are self-centered because they are in a survival mode, right? So we still are speaking about individuals at that time of history. And then through the narrative of Shemot, we see that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to take those Ivrim, 1/5 of those Ivrim, those who believed in him and who believed in the Yeshua, right? He's going to take them out of Egypt, led by Moshe Rabbeinu. And then he's going to prepare them for a very important act that is going to define us as a nation this time. What is it? It's Matan Torah. It is the gift of the Torah. At that moment, we are transformed from individual to a nation. What happened? Hashem really worked on us for a certain amount of time during the moment where he saved them from Egypt to the moment he gave the Torah to the Ivrim. What happened? He has been taking care of all their vital needs, right? Because of that, they were able to stop being in a survival mode. All their vital needs were met, right? Hashem brought the clouds of glory that were washing their clothing. They didn't have to take care of that. They didn't have to care about their food because there was the manna. They didn't have to take care about the water because there was a well of Miriam. It was, like an easy way to, like a spa, like a vacation for their soul, so they would reconnect to their DNA of what was really an Ivri. And an Ivri was not a selfish person, okay? I'm going to just ask you, please, to turn off your microphone because we have like a background noise. Thank you so much. So it's very important to understand that. So we have been taken from a state of individual to a state of nation. The nation is sealed, right? What is a nation? A nation is a group of individuals who gather with a common goal, right? What is that common goal? We're going to see it now. That common goal, becoming one, becoming united, right, is actually through the seal of the ketubah, let's say, right, of the Torah. When Hashem gives the Torah to Am Israel, they become Bnei Israel. They are now one family, right? They are now Am Israel. They become Am Israel, that nation. And that nation, we're still Am Israel today. we are still the same neshamot as those from Mitzrayim, right? From Har Sinai, from those who received the Torah. So it's very important to understand that, and to understand that the process for them to become those people, those good people, this Am Israel, was through a big nisayon. That big nisayon was being a slave in Mitzrayim, right? A nisayon is always here to express the essence of who we are, to make us go through the tzirim, are the contractions, right? The contractions to give birth, right? The labor contractions. Mitzrayim has the same root as tzirim, meaning that Mitzrayim was the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu managed to take individuals and make them give birth to a nation, Am Israel. I am not a prophetess or whatever, but when we think about what's going on today, right? We all felt that. We all experienced that on September, in the month of Elul, early Tishri, even on the 10th of Tishri, which is Yom Kippur, we saw people, individuals from Am Israel who had forgotten about their being one. They were fighting. Remember, I don't know if you heard about what happened. Where?
At Tel Aviv?
Yeah, in Tel Aviv. Even on Yom Kippur, people came and tore away a mechitza. We don't want your religious Jews here in Eretz Israel. Tel Aviv is ours. Who cares about that? It's Yom Kippur. Do you have to act like that with your brother? He's not my brother. What do you mean? My brother? He's not my brother. And October 7th happened. And what happened is that difficult, narrow, and we're going through tunnels when we think about it, like this narrow situation, very not uncomfortable, like very painful situation. What did it bring? Achdut. From Echad. It brought Achdut. You go to Eretz Israel today, who cares about the fact that the hostages were left politically or not? Who cares? They are our brothers. And you have Charedim who are davening night and day and praying night and day for them. Right? Why? Because this reminded us that we are one. We are one nation, right? And we were born on Matan Torah. So why are we speaking about that when we learn about perek bet? Because the Talmud in Masechet Brachot 10a, it says over there that the first two psalms, the first two chapters, chapter Aleph, that is about individuals and influence, and chapter Bet are actually one and only perek, meaning that there is a continuation. You cannot be an individual without thinking of yourself as a nation. Don't focus about that. You're not just an individual. Of course, you have to make sure that you are protected, that you have like the right surrounding, that your influence as a person is je sais pas pourquoi il y a tellement de bruit. That your influence as a person is touching yourself. It's not impacting on yourself. Because you're one and you are part of Am Israel, it is impacting all Am Israel. And that's why here, when David HaMelech addresses the issue of a nation, actually a continuation between. I want to try to do that, but
Je pense que la fête
Can you play?
Je crois que tu peux me muter.
There we go. Yes, I muted. Okay, sorry. So, so that's why it's so important. But what is beautiful also is that we realize, oh, we're going to see that after. I leave you a little bit of suspense. Okay, so there's something else that makes us understand that there is a continuity between those two psalms. The first thing is that Psalm Aleph, perek Aleph, starts with Ashrei Aish Asher Lo. Okay, Ashrei Aish. Praiseworthy is the one who stays away from the bad influences. And Psalm 2, David Ameler helps us understand what is the right plan that we should choose to follow, not as individuals, but as nation. And he finishes by, if you see the end of the perek, it says, Ashrei kol choseh bo. So again, Ashrei and Ashrei. Praiseworthy and praiseworthy, right? We find it as an introduction and as a conclusion. So we see that there is this continuity. Okay, here it says, the nations are gathering and conspiring against God and ve'al meshicho, against his anointed, right? That's which pasuk is this? Meshicho, the second pasuk bet, okay? It says that the nations are gathering, so the other nations are gathering and conspiring against God and his meshicho. Who is meshicho? Is either his anointed, which could be understood as David HaMelech. What is an anointed? Someone who has been anointed is a king, right? Mm-hmm. So who is the king? David HaMelech, right? So about himself. But it could also be understood, and that's what the Masechet Shemot says, that it could be also understood as something else. In Shemot, in Shemot we hear, Ve'atem tiyu li mamlechet kohanim vegoy kadosh. So in this pasuk of the Sefer Shemot, Hashem is describing us as a kingdom of priests, right? And a nation kadosh. Okay, so it could be also us, Am Israel. So the nations are conspiring against God, and not against also David HaMelech, but also against us. And we see that, right? Every single generation, there is someone who will come, raise, and try to destroy us. So here, it says that it's very important to understand that we are the anointed for Hashem. We are this Goy Kadosh, this nation Kadosh. What does it mean, Kadosh? Holy, okay? It means also separated, distinguished. Remember when we got married, right? We said, voilà, Mekudeshet. Our husband told us, Areat Mekudeshet li. Okay? What does it mean? You're becoming Kadosh to me. What does it mean? It means that you are not just a regular woman to me. Now you're my wife. You're distinguished. Your status as a woman is different than any other woman. So it's beautiful. We have even like a proof of that in the laws of Nida. When a woman is a Nida, her husband, she cannot pass a cup even, right? There's those laws that we call the achakot. But if I am a Nida and I see another man, I can pass him this cup. Why? Because he's not my husband. I am not his Kadosh wife somehow. I'm not distinguished to him. So it doesn't create the same relation. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Am Israel, you are to me a Goy Kadosh. You are not the same type. We don't have the same relationship. That I don't have the same relationship with you that I have with the rest of the nations. You are my wife. You are my other, okay? You are the chosen nation. What does it mean to be chosen? We feel like, it's a privilege, like, you know who I am? I'm the chosen people. But on the counterpart of that, there is a responsibility to be the chosen one. Being the chosen one gives you the responsibility to represent HaKadosh Baruch Hu and to act for him. We have that mission. What is this mission? To be an or la goim, to be a light to the nation. When are we a light to the nation? When we are one. That's definitely that. But as individual, when we are what we're supposed to be, which is Yehudim, right? What is a Yid? What is Am Israel? Is someone who received the Torah, someone who accepted the Torah, and someone who respects the Torah. When do we shine our light? When we are aligned with our mission as individual and as a nation. What is our mission is to bring this little light, this little light, this little light, this little light, this little light as one. And as you said, Lynn, once you have little candles, but you gather them in one spot all together, what happens? There's much more light. And if, as the Rebbe Minubavitch says, a little light can push away so much darkness, imagine if each and every Jew today decides to be aligned with his own personal mission, right? And not everybody has the mission to be Rav Kanievsky. We all have our own mission in life. And I will not come back on that because we saw it over and over again together, right? But we all have our own mission. What is my mission? When I am in the derech, in the path, remember that's also the first perek, the first chapter. When you are in the right path for you, what happens? That's when you light up your own light. And that's when, now we understand with chapter bet, that you can bring it to your nation and light up the world. Because this is our mission as Am Israel, to be an or lagoim, to prepare the world for Mashiach. We have been preparing the world, preparing all the people. Do you ever wonder why so many people care about Israel, about Jews? Why do they all care about us? Why? Why do they all hate us? Why? Jealousy, okay. It's something I think here we're touching something even deeper than jealousy. It's something personal. I'm going to give you an example. I don't like diets, but if I were to go on a diet, right? And I have someone in front of me eating that delicious chocolate cake and putting the chocolate cake, which I love, or even a box of Daniel in front of me like that. There's something inside of me, a little voice, right? What is that little voice? Jiminy Cricket for Pinocchio, like that little voice that's going to say, your conscience, that's going to say, Esther, you can, no, let's start, don't take my name. We're going to take someone else, Rivka or any other name. You shouldn't eat that box of chocolate, right? It's not good for you. That's not what you should be doing. You should be doing what's good for you, right? You should want to be in a good health. What do you want to tell that voice? Shut up. Stop saying that. I like to indulge with chocolate. I like to do whatever I want to do. I don't care being that perfect daughter. I don't care being that perfect wife. I don't care acting the right way. I want to do what I want to do. If Am Israel the Jewish people. We are that voice for humanity. Who brought the 10 Commandments to humanity? We did. Who let them know about Mashiach? We did. Today you go in any country and you ask about the concept of Mashiach, they know what it means. Even if they don't think like us, the concept has been brought by us, right? And you speak about like killing someone. Today, in any country, it is a sin. You're punished for killing someone, right? Normally. So we brought that to humanity. We are supposed to be the good people, the example, the good son, you know, the perfect son, the Bechor, the firstborn of God. It's not only a jealousy, it's also, it makes me uncomfortable. It takes me out of my comfort zone. And that's why they hate us so much, because we're showing them what it is to be good. Why would they decide to use the word genocide for Palestinians, that Israel is doing a genocide for Palestinians? They just want to tell us, listen, all your life, you always try to make us go in the right direction. You are the representative of morality, ethics, right? You always act good. We're going to try to, how do we say, bash you? How do we say in English? To
Wipe you out.
wipe you out, like to say bad things about you, destroy you. But the image.
Banish?
Banish? No. It's like, it's used like in the influencers, like quand il y a du, c'est pas bashing? Hmm? Not sure. Okay.
That's you would verbally bash. No, you wipe out also.
Okay, so wipe out or say bad things about you, present you as the bad one, right? Because they don't want to have an army that is able to sabotage. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to have an army that is able to send text messages to civilians before firing. They don't want to have an army of defense. We don't have an army that attacks. We have an army of defense. IDF, Israeli Defense Force. Where do you see that? Where in the world do we have an army that is a defense army? We are not, even in the way we eat kosher. Why? Because all the animals that are kosher are good animals. They're nice animals. They don't harm. They don't help me, Erika. Destroy their prey before eating them. They are good. They have good midot. They are they are cute animals, right? They don't hurt, and they carry an energy of goodness. We are eating kosher because we don't want that energy, that aggressive energy, that cruel energy to even enter our body. Can you imagine who is Am Israel? We should be proud to be Am Israel. We're the good guys. We're the good guys. So we have to understand what David HaMelech is telling us. He's giving us a lesson in those two first psukim, chapters. As an individual, you can walk in the right way. And the right way for you is not to be in the way of the people who speak bad or act bad. You are, as an individual, a good person. You have to refine yourself. You have to think correctly. All the laws of Torah regarding business are showing like you cannot even take advantage of a business situation. You have to be a honest person. You have to be a good person. You have to be sensitive to the others. This is a Jew as an individual. And now as a nation, you are a light to the nation. But you have to make sure to be aligned with that. Don't let yourself influence by the other nations. You are going to live in exile. You are going to be in America. It's going to feel so comfortable to be a Jew in America for many years. And now ask the New Yorkers how it feels. It's starting to get uncomfortable, right? Those of us who forgot that we are Jews before being Americans are going to be very, very disappointed, very they're feeling very bad. My vocabulary in English is terrible. But remember, in Germany, right, what happened? There were German Jews. Before being Jews, they were German, right? And what happened? They were reminded, unfortunately, you're not. To the eyes of those nations, you're not German. You're Jews, and you live in Germany. When are we remembering? When are we going to remember? We cannot be influenced by where we are. We have to act as Jews. We have to dress as Jews. We have to live as Jews. We have to eat as Jews, because this is what the world needs. This is when we are the light, right? So it's not easy to remind ourselves that, but it's important, because this is a moment in time when the entire universe is waiting for us to embrace our role. We have to embrace it now, because we're all waiting for Mashiach, and Mashiach is waiting for us all. Okay, I'm here. I'm ready. I'm already here. When are you guys going to move? Let's go. Take off that mask of the I'm an American Jew. I'm a Nosre, I don't know what. No, you are a Yid. And for those of you who like Yiddish music, it's geschmack to be a Yid. It's super nice to be a Yid. Yeah, it's not the same as in Arabic, but it's wonderful to be a Yid, to be a Jew. We just have to embrace that part of us and try to erase slowly the influence of the society, and try to remember what are we here for. It's been 5,784 years that we're waiting for that to happen. It's now, and it's beautiful, and we're going to make it together, and it's going to be amazing. Bezrat Hashem. Okay. We have another part of the class, but I think we're already a little bit done with the timing. Next time, we'll stay with perek bet, and we'll go on serenity, because I want to speak about serenity. It's a very important thing, but I'm going to go to that page, right? A message to Am Israel. Okay, so, but you shall be to me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. And a holy nation. Remember that. That's a beautiful mantra to have in our mind and to share with our kids. Then ask yourself, what about that paradox of privilege and responsibility in my own life, right? Because we're here to grow. We are here to become better selves, to refine ourselves. What type of privilege do I have? And what kind of responsibility goes with it in my personal life? Okay. Then we said, what does being Kadosh means to you? How am I distinguished in my relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu? How am I distinguished in my relationship with other people that are Kadosh to me? My husband, somehow my kids also. Do I have a very unique relationship with them? How can I nourish that? Can I think of certain privileges that I have in my life? What are the responsibilities that come along? What does being an all-Lagoin, what does it mean to you? And what can you do? That's something I would love for those who want to think about that. What would you like to do to add a little bit of light, to be a little bit more an all-Lagoin? What can you do? So those are personal reflections. Huh? We don't need to share, but if you want to share, you're more than welcome to share. We're going to stop the recording so everybody can share what they want. And then an exercise. What are you ready to add to your privileged relationships in order to give them this sense of distinction? Think about 5 things you can do in your day to add more light to the world. When are you going to do it? How are you going to do it? With whom? Those are the questions you can ask yourself. Now I'm going to stop the recording. See you next week for those who are watching the replay.